and we are moving ahead. My name is Robert Gray. I am also a member of the board of the Legal Services Corporation, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you a good friend. She also happens to be the president of the American Bar Association. She is the first woman of color to assume that mantle and has done so with great grace and dignity. She has made it a priority to continue the good work of William Hubbard on access to justice, and we thank him for his leadership. And she has made it a point to say, I will visit every state in the union before my term is over to let the lawyers know in this country of their huge responsibility to be sure that everyone has access to justice. I don't think any president has done that before. And at every one of her visits, she has made it a point to visit the Boys and Girls Club of that neighborhood. Join me in welcoming one of the most distinguished lawyers in our nation, Paulette Brown, President of the American Bar.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope the break did you well, that you're refreshed and ready for the next panel. Thank you, Robert, for always being so wonderful and gracious and for being a good friend. I listened to all of the presentations earlier this afternoon, and I thought about Judge Learned Hand, who said, and I'm going to give you the King James Version, it is the daily, it is the small, it is the cumulative injuries of people with little or no means that we are here to protect. If we are able to keep our democracy, there must be one commandment: thou shalt not ration justice. More than ever, the legal profession is uniquely situated to deliver services that make a difference in people's lives. You know, I always think about how, lawyers provide more pro bono service than any other profession, and yet we don't get the type of credit for all of the work that we do. And as I listened to the panelists this morning, I sort of realized why, because we have such a greater burden on us, because everything that happens affects the legal profession and affects all of us, and it charges us to do more. And so I am really pleased that the American Bar Association has a wonderful and long-standing collaborative relationship with the Legal Services Corporation, and why we understand how important it is to continue to be advocates, as we must, for the Legal Services Corporation and for continued funding for legal services. And it is why in our 20th anniversary of ABA Day, I don't know why we call it day when it's days, that we will advocate and go to our Congress people to ask for the money that the President has asked for, $475 million, to continue to fund legal services. Based on what you heard already today, and we don't have to rely on any statistics to let us know that the need is more profound than others, that we have to continue with our mission and let legislators know and let others know how important it is to fund the good work of legal services, that it has to be a high priority in all that we do, and not just to fund legal services, but that for all of us to take a part and a role in making sure that there is access to justice for everyone. You know, I listened to the acting secretary of the Army, and I thought about, you know, what we do for the military and how we need to do more. And I never thought about the ads in the way that he talked about it. But we are, in those ads, creating a stereotype threat. We are really encouraging more of them to commit suicide by those ads. And so we have to change the narrative, as he said, and make sure that they know that they can be really valuable citizens. We have, and I try to make pro bono work and access to justice one of my priorities, just as William did, just as I know that Linda will do behind me, and to highlight the pro bono services that lawyers have done. And so we started during National Pro Bono Week what we called Injustice for All and ABA Day of Service. And so during that time, we had more than 544 participating organizations, and also we had Legal Services Corporation, and so I'd like to thank Jim Sandman and John Levy for helping us in that regard to make it a really outstanding venture. So where we had almost 1,000 events and tens of thousands of lawyers participating, and it became so popular, people around the world thought that this was an important issue, and so we had countries like Singapore and China and Germany and the United Kingdom participating. But what I want to really say is as we listen to the effect of how fines and civil penalties can create criminal consequences for individuals, how important it is to really look at civil access to justice, because too often it becomes criminal matters. We cannot allow that to happen. Too many people are subjected to the criminal justice system. It has created mass incarceration, which cannot be sustainable. And so we cannot allow people to be punished just because they are poor. And so as I thank all of you for being here today, I would like really for us to go back, be re-energized. And all of you here are doing so much already, but we need to tell the people who we talk to on a regular basis what their responsibility is, well, how much power they have in the law license that has been afforded to them. And to have them understand what Brian Stevenson always tells us or reminds us, that the opposite of poverty is not wealth, it is justice. Thank you very much.